All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the next presentation in our webinar Wednesdays series. Today we will be talking about household hazardous waste disposal and electronic recycling in Milwaukee. Just a few housekeeping things before we kick this off. This webinar is being recorded, so if you would like to access it or share it, it will be available on our website tomorrow afternoon. So make sure you check back then for the recording. Also, if you have any questions along the way, we will be utilizing the Q&A feature on the webinar. This should be located on the bottom of your screen. We won't be using the chat feature, so just the Q&A, and there will be time for questions at the end of our webinar. My name is Zoe Jump. I am the education coordinator for Keep Greater Milwaukee Beautiful. Thank you guys so much for being here today. For those of you who haven't heard of Keep Greater Milwaukee Beautiful, we are a private nonprofit organization, and our mission is to promote clean, healthy, and beautiful communities for generations to come. We do this through environmental education. We teach people of all ages how to recycle, how to compost. We talk about energy conservation, urban trees, gardening, and we also do this through beautification. We conduct litter cleanups all over the greater Milwaukee area through our Big Clean MKE program. If you guys are interested in learning more about us or what we do, you can always visit our website, which is www.kgmb.org. So our agenda for today, the first thing we are going to talk about is e-cycling. We will be exploring the Wisconsin electronic recycling law and how that affects consumers, manufacturers, retailers, and recyclers. We will also see how to properly recycle electronics in Milwaukee and why it's important to help keep our environment clean and healthy. Then we will move on to the proper handling and disposal of batteries, followed by household hazardous waste disposal. We'll talk about what you can and cannot dispose of and why it's important to properly dispose of those items. And then we'll also go over a couple miscellaneous items and other programs for bulky items and things like that in Milwaukee. And then we will have time for questions and answers at the end. So starting with electronic recycling. To handle the increasing volume of electronic waste, protect workers and the environment, and to recover all of those valuable materials, Wisconsin joined a growing number of states with electronic recycling laws in the year 2009. This law banned various electronics from landfill, such as computers, TVs, cell phones, video players, along with many others. This also means that city crews will not pick up your electronics or appliances at your curbside. This program also set up a product stewardship program in which electronic manufacturers will actually fund a statewide collection and recycling system known as e-Cycle Wisconsin. So this recycling law doesn't only affect manufacturers, it establishes requirements for consumers, manufacturers, collectors, recyclers, and even retailers to ensure proper recycling is done in an environmentally sound manner from day one. This law also affects local law units to make sure that local officials are informing residents about electronic recycling and local electronic disposal bins. I'm assuming the majority of you guys are participating in this webinar today as an electronics consumer. So we will mainly be focusing on the rules and disposal guidelines around electronic consumers. If you are participating as a manufacturer or a collector, be sure to visit the eCycle Wisconsin website for more information on that side of things. There are 4 main steps for recycling electronics properly under the eCycle Wisconsin program. We will be going into each step specifically, but step 1 is to find out what you can and cannot recycle. Step 2 is to properly prepare your items for recycling. Step 3 is to protect your data. And step 4 is to find a recycler. So starting with step 1, find out what to recycle. Electronics to recycle. This isn't a full list, but it's one of the big ones like TVs, pretty much any type of computer, a desktop, a laptop, even tablets, any kind of printer, monitors, computer accessories, DVD players, VCRs, fax machines, cell phones, along with major appliances, as well as other miscellaneous items such as stereo equipment, MP3 players, iPods, and cameras. For a full list of electronics to recycle, you can visit ecyclewisconsin.com. Step 2 is to prepare your electronics to be recycled. Recycling electronics can sometimes take some planning, especially if you have a lot of large, bulky items. You always want to start by making a list of what you would like to get rid of, and also note the age and condition of each item, and also when you would like to get rid of your electronics, and whether you will be able to transport them yourself or if you need to have them picked up. So try to get organized before you start finding a recycler. And always try and reuse items before automatically turning to recycling. If someone else can still use your old things, that is a much better option than automatically recycling them. Consider donating your items. If your printers, computers, or other electronics are still in good working condition, maybe you simply want a newer model or an upgrade, you may be able to donate them to a friend, a local school, or even a nonprofit. So always check in with donations first, and also check out trade-in programs. There are a lot of trade-in programs that offer gift cards or checks if you give them working or non-working devices. The Target trade-in program takes phones, tablets, gaming consoles. They even take smartwatches and speakers. They will appraise your item online, and then they will send you a free shipping label. And you actually get to receive Target gift cards for your used electronics. And who doesn't want a Target gift card? So check out trade-in programs. Walmart, Best Buy, and Amazon also have similar trade-in programs for gift cards. If you aren't interested in gift cards, the Green Buyback program, the last one on this list, they actually pay out via PayPal or check. So these are all really great options to look into. If your electronics are unfixable, obsolete, or cannot be reused, then only should you look to recycling programs. Step 3 is to protect your data. Before you recycle your electronics, it's really important to protect the data that's on them. More and more electronics now store at least some form of limited personal or sensitive data. This includes computers, tablets, cell phones, USBs, printers, and even smart TVs. According to a 2016 study done by the DNR, data security concerns were one of the primary barriers to recycling electronics. So always find out how or if the recycler or refurbisher you choose will protect your data security. You always want to look for recyclers with the National Association for Information Destruction certification for protecting and erasing your data. This will be right on their homepage, and you're going to want to make sure that they have this. If your recycler does not offer data deconstruction, check with your device manufacturer for specific instructions on how to wipe your data. One example is the iOS system for Apple mobile devices. They have a feature like a factory reset built right into your phone that will help with data wiping. If you can't find the instructions, then you can always find a local electronic repair shop. They will provide data wiping services for you. But always remember to back up those files somewhere before beginning a data wipe so you don't lose any of that good information. And finally, step 4 is to find a recycler. The eCycle Wisconsin website has a feature that will show you all of the collection sites and mailback programs in your area. All you need to do is click which items you need to eCycle. They have a whole list. You're going to click where were the items used. In this case, we would click household. And then on the map below, it's going to show all of the locations nearest to you to recycle your electronics. This is what the website looks like here, and this is the website right here. So it's a really great resource to find a local electronics recycler. If there isn't a recycler near you, you can always look to the City of Milwaukee drop-off centers as a place to dispose of your electronics. City of Milwaukee residents and landowners can take approved electronics to 2 different drop-off centers in Milwaukee. One is on the south side off of Lincoln Avenue, and the other is located on the north side off of Industrial Road. You do have to have proof of residency or land ownership to drop off, so make sure you have those. If you bring a few small electronics, such as one DVD player or a tablet, those are going to be free to drop off. The only way to incur a fee for electronics at drop-off centers is if you bring a large amount with you, such as your whole trunk is full of them, or if you bring a large pickup truck full of electronics. And also TVs have a fee no matter what. So each TV is $5 each to drop off at these centers, and you can only bring 3. So just a few things to keep in mind if the drop-off centers are your recycler of choice. If you have a large quantity of devices, maybe you're cleaning out a school or a business and you need to work directly with a recycler, there are also options for you on the eCycle Wisconsin registered recyclers list. So check that out. Other options, if there aren't any eCycle Wisconsin sites near you, would be Earth 911. They have a search feature for various recyclers in your area. Earth 911 also has a database for anything, not just electronics. You can search anything in their search bar and it'll tell you where to recycle it. So that's a really cool website just to have in your back pocket for anything and everything. Call to Recycle is also a great resource that is similar to Earth 911. You enter in your zip code and you can find drop-off sites near you. So we've gone through all of our steps for recycling, but why do we recycle electronics? Do we just do it because it's the law? No. Electronics are the fastest growing segment of residential solid waste. According to a statewide survey conducted in 2018 by the DNR, again, this is just the state of Wisconsin, 9.3 million devices are sitting unused in homes. Among these 9.3 million devices, the average number of unused devices was 3.5 per home, and the highest number was 21 unused devices. So we have a lot of unused electronics sitting around in our state. Electronics contain very valuable reusable materials, including various plastics, metals, and glass. So when you recycle your electronics properly, that reduces the need for new virgin materials and new products. And it also reduces the pollution associated with that initial mining or extraction of natural resources. Electronics also contain very harmful materials, including lead, mercury, cadmium, chromium, and other harmful heavy metals. They are obviously safely contained in the metal or plastic case that they're in. However, when, let's say, a laptop is discarded in traditional garbage or landfills, these chemicals can leach into the surrounding topsoil. The topsoil can then potentially contaminate the groundwater, which can in turn contaminate the surrounding vegetation, which can harm the area, humans, as well as other fauna. So it's very important that these are recycled correctly. And the last reason is for data security. When electronics are recycled correctly, there's a proper data wipe done on them, as opposed to if you just tossed your cell phone in your garbage bin. Who knows who could get their hands on your cell phone, and all of our cell phones these days have passwords and banking information. So data security is also a big one for recycling your electronics. What happens when you e-cycle? The process of e-cycling starts at the drop-off center. So you drop your electronics off at an electronic collector. First, they find out if the electronics are reusable. If they are, then the collector destroys all of the personal information and data on them, refurbishes them, and then they're resold. If the electronic is not reusable, the item is then taken apart and the components are sorted into different categories. Hard drives are always shredded to destroy personal information, and then the components are shipped to different buyers to be manufactured into new products, including new electronics, jewelry, and automobiles, which are all made out of recycled metals, as well as garden furniture and non-food containers, which are made out of those recovered recycled plastics. So it's a pretty cool process. What else can you do? You recycled all of your electronics, you're feeling really great about it. The next thing to do is to try and support your local electronic recycler. Consider purchasing a refurbished product the next time you're in the market for a new electronic device. Maybe you don't need the latest and greatest computer, you just need one to do some things at home. This is a great option. Local electronic recyclers also offer really great discounts for refurbished products, somewhere from 10% to even 50%. And these products often include a warranty, and you can customize the devices. Two great ones right here in downtown Milwaukee are Digital Bridge and Milwaukee PC. So if you're in the market for a new computer, make sure to check them out. So e-cycling in Wisconsin really adds up. Every year, eCycle Wisconsin conducts a study of how many electronics were recycled that year. In 2019, collectors took in 23.6 million pounds of electronics through the eCycle Wisconsin program, which is amazing to even think about what that looks like. That equates to about 4 pounds per Wisconsin resident being recycled. Since the beginning of the program in 2009, 304 million pounds of electronics have been saved from the landfill and recycled through eCycle Wisconsin. And just a fun fact, 65% of that 304 million pounds were just TVs. So Wisconsinites really like to recycle TVs, which is great. All right, moving on to battery disposal. We'll just be focusing on household battery recycling today. There are different requirements for households versus businesses, but for the sake of time, we will just be focusing on batteries coming from households. There are two types of household batteries. The first one is dry cell batteries. These are used in electronics, watches, calculators, flashlights. They are the most common type of battery. They come in a wide variety of shapes and sizes, and they include both rechargeable and non-rechargeable types. There's a whole list of them: alkaline, alkaline rechargeable, lithium, lithium ion, and so on. These are going to be your AAA, AA's, C's, and D's, as well as the button and coin batteries and small cell phone and laptop batteries. When it comes to dry cell batteries, always try and reduce waste by buying rechargeable batteries as opposed to non-rechargeable whenever possible. That just reduces the amount of batteries that are piling up. The other type of battery are lead acid batteries, and these are used in automotive types, so they're in cars, trucks, motorcycles, and boats. So why should you recycle or properly dispose of your batteries? Like other electronics, there are really awful environmental impacts to improper disposal of certain types of batteries. Batteries include heavy metals, including mercury, lithium, cadmium, and even lead. When you landfill certain types of batteries, these heavy metals can be leached into the environment. And batteries are also known to set trucks on fire. So recycling trucks present a significant risk if you recycle your batteries. Never, ever put batteries in your recycling bin. That's the biggest no-no, as you can see from the picture below. When the batteries move around with other things, they can cause fires or even cause the trucks to explode. If they do make it to the recycling facility, they could cause fires there, which can damage the machines and the workers there. So never put batteries in your recycling bin, and always handle batteries properly. The ways to handle batteries properly is to tape each battery's terminals with clear packing, electrical, or duct tape. This will prevent the touching of the other terminals or other metals, which would cause those fires. So just tape off the ends. Also, make sure you're not using tape where you can't see the type of battery it is. So always just use clear tape. Or if you are using electrical or duct tape, just tape the ends. Make sure you're storing your batteries in a non-metal container. And if you have any damaged or swollen batteries, store them in sand or kitty litter for proper storage. Disposing of dry cell batteries from households. So unfortunately, there are no legal requirements for disposal of household generated dry cell batteries, but there are guidelines for disposal. Alkaline, also known as single-use batteries, again, never put these in your recycling cart. Although single-use batteries can technically be thrown out in your regular garbage, we always ask that you find a battery disposal program near you. That's always the safest option for any type of battery. Rechargeable batteries, on the other hand, contain toxic chemicals, and these must be properly disposed of. They cannot be put in your garbage cart. You can visit the wisconsinrecyclingdirectory.com or call to recycle to find a battery disposal program near you. Moving on to lead acid batteries. Those are the automotive batteries. Unlike the dry cell, there is a law, it's chapter 287.07, that bans lead acid batteries from landfill disposal or solid waste incineration. If you do have lead batteries at home that you're looking to dispose of, make sure you're being safe when handling them. Using rubber gloves and eye protection is always a good option because it will keep you safe from leaking acid. Wash your hands immediately after handling the battery. Consumers can bring back these lead acid batteries to any Wisconsin retailer that sells these batteries. This service is free if you purchase a new battery when you bring back your used one. And there's a fee of $3 if you bring in a used battery without purchasing a new one. So still pretty cheap to just bring in your used battery. If you don't have a battery retailer near you, you can bring them to the Milwaukee drop-off centers. And the retailer should have a sign in their window that looks like this if they are a part of the battery buyback program. Household hazardous waste disposal is the next item on our agenda today. The Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District offers household hazardous waste collection programs. A lot of the household hazardous waste they collect are unfortunately commonly disposed of by putting them down the drain. Putting hazardous materials down the drain or flushing them down the toilet is not the proper way to dispose of these items. The wastewater treatment equipment does not have the ability to filter out some of these hazardous items, so it's very important that they are disposed of correctly. MMSD does have a home hazmat collection program, and there are 3 different sites for drop-off. One is in Franklin, one is local here in Milwaukee, and the other one is up in Menominee Falls. So lots of options for everyone. They also run mobile collections. There's one coming up on September 12th at the Wauwatosa City Hall, as well as one at State Fair in October. What does MMSD allow you to bring? In different categories, the first is going to be the garage and workshop category. You can bring in acetone, antifreeze, oil, battery acid, car wax, driveway sealer, glues, kerosene, paint, lighter fluid, roofing tar, sealers, stains. Kitchen and bathroom category are going to be cleaners, nail polish, oven cleaners, and thermometers. And then home and garden is full aerosol cans, fertilizer, fungicides, insect sprays, mothballs, pool chemicals, any sort of animal poisoning, and weed killer. This is just a snapshot of the things you can bring. For a full list, you can visit mmsd.com/what-you-can-do/home hazmat collection. So check out that website to learn more about what you can bring. What not to bring to the hazmat collection. The first thing is going to be ammunition, explosives, or fireworks. You can't bring these. If you do have these at home and you need to dispose of them, make sure they're being stored in a place free from heat or sparks. and consult your local law enforcement to find out how to properly dispose of those things. Car batteries, computers, microwaves, televisions, and tires. You can't bring these to the home hazmat collection, but as we talked about before, these things can get taken to a drop-off center or a eCycle Wisconsin site. Prescription drugs and medical waste. Medical sharps such as needles, syringes pose an injury risk for anyone who comes into contact with these items, so it's very important to properly package and dispose of your sharps. Never flush needles or any other sharp medical items down the toilet, and don't place them in your trash or recycling bin. Household sharps can be disposed of at a registered sharps collection location. You can find these locations on the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources website. As far as prescription drugs, these drugs can be taken to disposal drop boxes at Milwaukee Police Districts 2 through 7. You can also get a free postage paid drug disposal envelope at CVS for the disposal of your unwanted or expired prescriptions. Also, never flush or pour your expired medication down the drain. Always make sure there's a program near you to dispose of these things. And lastly, don't bring CFL or fluorescent light bulbs. Light bulbs are very costly to recycle, so it's important that they're brought back to the retailer for proper disposal. You can take them to Ace Hardware, Batteries Plus Bulbs, Home Depot, Lowe's, Sears, Target, and True Value. If you can't find a retailer near you, you can visit Focus on Energy / find a retailer, and they will show you a better list of retailers near you. Incandescent and halogen bulbs are not considered hazardous, and those can be placed in your garbage. So for other miscellaneous items that maybe we didn't specifically talk about today, you can consult the Milwaukee drop-off centers before landfilling them. Always do your research to see if there's a better option for your material before throwing it into your garbage. There are some fees involved with the drop-off centers, and these are in place to help offset the cost of processing the materials that are brought in. And they do have a fee schedule for this that is authorized under the Milwaukee Code of Ordinances. The load size fees are just based off of the volume of the material you bring in. Normal recyclable materials and scrap metal are always free of charge regardless of how much you're bringing in. For a full load size fee approximation, you can visit the drop-off center website. But just a few examples. These vehicle and trailer references are just to help give an approximation of how large of a volume those vehicles typically have. So for an example, a passenger car. Passenger car size loads are generally less than 1 cubic yard if the contents are just packed in your trunk or there's a few things in your back seat. This would be free of charge. So just a few things is free no matter what they are, unless it's a tire or a TV. However, if your car was full to the brim and you maybe had 2 mattresses on the roof of the car, this would increase the load size to over a cubic yard, which would be closer to a small pickup truck, which would incur a $20 fee. So just keep that in mind when you're taking things to the drop-off center. There could be fees. Brush is free for less than 6 cubic yards, and tires are a disposal fee of $3 each, and you can only bring in 5. What can you bring to the drop-off centers? The things that are recycled are going to be appliances, shingles, car batteries, concrete, electronics, cardboard, recyclables, scrap metal, and tires. You can bring in compostable materials such as brush or branches, grass, garden debris, leaves, and logs, and also things that they take to the landfill such as garbage, mattresses, and remodeling debris. For a full list, you can visit the drop-off center website, or you can always call the city website if you just have a quick question. What can't you bring to the drop-off center? So it's not necessarily items, but it's going to be the type of load you're bringing. So large loads that are on a large flatbed truck or a dump truck or a semi-truck, you don't want to bring that to the drop-off center. Anything bigger than 16 feet. Make sure that your items, you can verify what they are. If they can't verify your contents, they're not going to accept your items. And then they need to be safely contained in containers. They can't just be a big pile of random things that aren't in a bag or a box. Bulky item pickup. So if you maybe can't get to a drop-off center, or if you have bulky items that are too large for your car, or too large for your garbage cart, such as broken furniture, maybe a queen mattress, or large broken toys, you can schedule a bulky item pickup at your curbside. This does not include yard waste, electronics, TVs, appliances, or tires. Bulky item pickup is available for properties with solid waste collection service provided by the City of Milwaukee. And there are two options for bulky item pickup. The first is going to be the regular pickup, which is 1 cubic yard of bulky items. This is about the size of a recliner chair or 2 garbage carts, and there's no need to fill out any request for this or call the city. It will just get picked up on your regular pickup day. If you have more items that are larger than 2 garbage carts, you need to schedule a special pickup for those items, which is a $50 fee for up to 4 cubic yards and $150 for up to 6 cubic yards. So there are lots of options for getting rid of things you don't want. If there's anything that maybe I didn't cover today or things you want to have more resources about, you can always visit the eCycle Wisconsin page. They have really great video resources that take you through the whole electronic recycling process. And they have some good printables. They have flyers on there, even posters that are really great. You can also visit the City of Milwaukee Department of Sanitation Recycling Directory. This is a whole directory, A to Z, that tells you if you can landfill them, recycle them, or take it to a drop-off center. So that's a really great resource. MMSD, that is the thing that runs the home household hazardous waste collection. They have really great resources on their websites as well as printable flyers. And then Wisconsin DNR, they have a lot of great resources as well. And they get into kind of the nitty-gritty of those items that you may have questions about. So that's a really great resource. If you enjoyed this presentation today and you learned a lot, make sure to check out our other Webinar Wednesdays presentations coming up. We do have one in August, on August 12th at 2 p.m. We are going to talk about small space composting solutions. So we'll talk about vermicomposting, worm bins, all that creepy crawly stuff. And on August 26th at 11 a.m., we will be talking about landfill diversion. So we'll be going into reduce, reuse, recycle, refuse. So all of the other options you can do besides recycling. If you are interested in these webinars, you can register on our website at www.kgmb.org/webinars. And you can always follow us on Facebook. We're always updating our Facebook page with our latest webinar information and when our webinar recordings are live on our website. So give us a like, give us a follow to stay updated.